All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church, building community, inspiring growth, creating change. Here in the heart of Kansas City, we come together to create this hour of shared reflection so that we might be renewed in courage for these times and inspired to lives of greater dignity, higher purpose, deeper generosity, and more effective action. If you are new to Unitarian Universalism or to our congregation, we want to get to know you and share a part of your journey. If this place is already your spiritual home, welcome once more. We need one another, and it is good to be together again. Through the gifts of technology, we also gather virtually to celebrate community and connections as we lean into the values of justice, compassion, and reason. Welcome to all those who are joining us in this way today. Together, we learn the love that has the power to overcome both loneliness in the heart and oppression in the world. Welcome to our service this morning. May the words and music and images that we offer today nourish our best selves, calling forth abundant wisdom and love.
Arise, O souls, all arise.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jean Patterson. I'm a member of the congregation, and it's my pleasure to greet you this morning by saying that we only have 20 shopping days till Christmas. Now, echoing the message in the video, we welcome those here in person as well as those online who've chosen to set aside this time with us this morning. We have a particular opportunity for fellowship and to interact with those who are visiting for the first time. After the service, across the parking lot, we will be having a Yule Bach sponsored by the Board of Trustees. That's like a holiday party. Everybody, please join us there.
Our opening words this morning are by Laura Wallace. From a crack in the pavement, the green leaves of a tiny seedling emerge. As frozen earth holds the determined seed, this sacred space holds our weariness, our worry, our laughter, and our celebration. Let us bring seed and soul into the light of thought, the warmth of community, and the hope of love. Let us see together, hear together, love together. Let us worship.
Good morning. I light this chalice for the inherent worth and dignity of every person.
Please stand as you are able and join in the affirmation of our covenant. Then remain standing as we sing song number 224. Together we affirm, goodwill is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
So it's potentially been a while since we have done this, but I would like to invite any of the young people or people who are young at heart forward to come see what I have and have a conversation. Did anyone want to come forward and take a look at this? It has glitter. I mean, if you're too shy, that's okay. And if anybody older wants to come forward. Hey, thank you, Carolyn. There we go, that's all it took. All right. Do you know what I have here? A kitty calendar. It is true. You can sit. Let's all just sit. How's that? So, I'm wondering whether any of you have heard of Advent. Does that make sense to you? Have you heard the word Advent? Yeah? A chocolate Advent calendar. I'm so jealous. My mom gave me this one and it's just paper. So it sounds like you have a calendar in your house that starts on December 1st and ends on Christmas that your family calls an Advent calendar. You don't have one? Okay, that's all right. Not everybody has Advent calendars. This is the one that my mom gave me this year. It has glitter. I forgive her. It's made of paper, and for those of you who aren't right up here, it's got pictures of kittens playing and hiding on a bookshelf. And I've already opened the doors for 1, 2, and 3, but 4 is right here. Would you like to open that door for me? Go ahead. Just grab the edge and open that door. Okay, and we just opened the door for number 4 because today is December 4th. It looks like your kitty cat? It does not look like my kitty cat, but I'm thrilled that it looks like yours. Your kitty cat has stripes? Yeah, Kelvin?
I can see some. I have a friend in class. He also has an advent calendar, except it's a Christmas tree.
It's a Christmas tree advent calendar. That's amazing. So advent calendars have become really popular the last few years, like really popular. I have friends that have like 4. And you might have seen ones that have Legos for every day. I'm a little jealous of those. Or chocolates. You have the one with chocolates. Some of them have cheese or wine for the grown-ups. Yes, August?
Mine has like a Christmas tree, and we open one door for each day.
Yours is a Christmas tree.
It has a piece of candy.
It has a piece of candy.
We just give up, and I just steal all the candy.
You give up. Oh. Yeah. They do make them for dogs with dog treats. I have a colleague who has one of those for each of his dogs. Yeah, advent calendars are really popular. A few years ago, I got one that had a different color of fountain pen ink for every day. Fountain pen ink. Some of them had glitter in them. So, do you know why we have these special calendars?
So you know whenever it's Christmas.
So that you know when it's going to be Christmas Eve. That's what you were going to say? Do we know why we call them Advent? Oh. No, we don't know why we call them Advent. Well, it's all about the fact that Christmas is coming. For Christians, Christmas marks when Jesus was born, and he brought goodness into the world. So the word Advent is Latin, or comes from the Latin for the word coming. So it just means it's coming. And Jesus, and all of the wonderful things that Jesus represents, is coming. So Advent is when we prepare and wait patiently and don't eat all of the candy in our Advent calendar before it's time, because we're waiting for Christmas.
And if you do want to, just dump it in choice. My sister accidentally showed me the one. Gave the one to my
Okay, so when I was a kid, and even now as a grown-up with my Advent calendar that had fountain pen ink, I would look forward to opening the next day's door on my Advent calendar. It was like a little tiny taste every day of the excitement that was going to be Christmas. And it was something that would remind me that Christmas was coming soon, with its fun and family and presents. So I'm going to show you something else that has to do with Advent. and that is this Advent wreath. Have you seen one of these before? It's got 4 candles. It has 4 candles, one for each of the 4 Sundays of Advent, which are the 4 Sundays before Christmas. And each Sunday has a special word for it. So last Sunday, it'll be hope, love, joy, and peace. And last Sunday, when Reverend Jill was here, she lit one candle that was for hope. And so today, I'm going to light a candle for hope. She accidentally lit the wrong one because the pink one was supposed to be for joy. Oops. And I'm going to light a second candle for this week, because this week the word is love. So let us keep love in our hearts today and every day this week. And let's think about the ways in which all of us knows love, the ways in which we know about love in our lives, and how we can act in ways that bring more love into the world. So that is our task this week of Advent, is to think about love. Do you think you can do that for me this week? That would be great. Well, thank you so much for joining me for this time. This was really fun having all of you up front with me. We'll have to do it again sometime. Would that be okay? Yeah. Okay. Well, it's time for you to go to your classes. And thanks for coming, Ellie.
I guess I'm going to be very commercial today. I remind you about shopping days for Christmas. And now it's time to talk to you about the offering. We encourage people to pledge to help us make plans for what we're going to be able to do in the year. And we're so grateful when people do make pledges. Also, when you agree to automatic withdrawal, because that makes it easier on our bookkeeper. But there's also another time to give, and that's every Sunday. We appreciate when you do these other things, but don't forget about Sunday either. Don't let the basket pass you by this week. Pull out a 5. Pull out a 10. Pull out a 20. It'll do us good. The offering will now be given and gratefully received. We missed the dedication to, oh, no, we didn't. We'll now have the dedication for the offering. We dedicate our offerings and our actions to the mission at the heart of this congregation, to build a respectful and caring community, to inspire personal and spiritual growth, and to create change toward a just and compassionate society.
Good morning. First comes The Waiting by Erica A. Hewitt, a UUA minister, author, and a self-proclaimed liturgical nerd. A small evergreen tree next to a bowl holding 4 purple candles and a small gold star. This is a season of endings and beginnings, when the small signs of dawn pierce through the night and something new is born. But first comes the waiting. First comes the lessons of endings and beginnings. The presence of life, the sheltering spirit of love, grieves with those who are sweeping up the debris of loss, waits with those who restlessly reach out for change, grants us courage in the night to guard each other's dreams for this holy, wondrous universe. Grant us, O universe, unfolding in mystery, a sense of your timing. May we loosen our grip on that which doesn't serve us, leaving behind that which we have outworn and outgrown. Teach us the lessons of beginnings. Remind us that such waitings and endings may be a starting place, a planting of seeds which bring to birth what is ready to be born. Something right and just and different, a new song, a deeper relationship, a fuller love in the fullness of time.
Our second reading today is We Are Waiting by UU Minister Leslie Takahashi. This is the season of anticipation, of expecting, of hoping, of wanting. This is the time of expecting the arrival of something or someone. We are waiting. This is the time of living in darkness, in the hues of unknowing, of being quiet, of reflecting on a year almost past, waiting for a new beginning, for a closing or an end. This is the time for digesting the lessons of days gone past, anticipating the future for which we are waiting. Waiting for a world which can know justice. Waiting for a lasting peace. Waiting for the bridge to span the divides which separate us. Waiting for a promise or a hope. For all of this, we are waiting.
Sometimes
Every year in college, in December, those last couple of weeks of the semester, I would sit in the darkness that came so early, look out the window at the falling snow or the students walking by, and simply be quiet in the moment. There was a blanket of darkness holding me, and the world moved by while I simply let it. Being present to the moment was all that I needed. The books and the papers could wait. It was me and the darkness. I think that maybe I was practicing a form of Advent, even though I didn't yet know what it was. Because I grew up a Unitarian Universalist in an agnostic home that celebrated Christmas in a more secular than religious way. The same paper Advent calendar every year was the only nod to the season of waiting that I knew. I was an adult before I saw my first Advent wreath, 3 feet in diameter and hanging from the rafters at the UU Church in Akron, Ohio. At the time, the lighting of this huge, seemingly dangerous hanging thing felt antiquated and too Christian for a UU setting. But clearly the practice has grown on me. I have a feeling that attending a liberal Christian seminary had something to do with the shift, as it taught me to appreciate a richness I had never before witnessed within Christianity. There is something about this increased, lovely darkness that asks us to slow down. It's already dark. Why not sit quietly with a book and a beverage and simply be for a time? An invitation into waiting. This is the season of anticipation, of expecting, of hoping, of wanting. This is the time of expecting the arrival of something or someone. So much about Christmas calls us to just skip the waiting. Put up the Christmas tree immediately after Thanksgiving, or maybe even as early as November 1st, because it's so lovely and takes effort and begs to be enjoyed longer and longer each new Christmas season. Put up the holiday lights. The Christmas candles the Christmas candies are on the store shelves before Halloween is even over. So it's already time to indulge. And the music. So I'm not shaming anyone for getting started on the Christmas pleasures early. Do Christmas however you feel like doing Christmas, especially now when we've been through and continue to face so much uncertainty. I will make an argument, however, that we live into the spirit of Advent in our emotional and spiritual lives. Even with the cookies already on our plates, there is still room for holy waiting. Advent is traditionally about the coming of Christ. This is an intentional dual meaning, for it anticipates the coming of the Christ child with Christmas, but also looks towards the second coming as well. Historically, the first 2 weeks of Advent focused on inner preparations for the second coming, and the second 2 weeks for the coming of the baby Jesus. When we talk about Advent in a Unitarian Universalist context, the focus shifts from Christ or Jesus to justice and love. In this way, the words of focus for each of the 4 weeks of Advent resonate beautifully for our context: hope, love, joy, and peace. These words fit our UU values and how we are in the world. The history of Advent in the Western Church is somewhat unclear, including its length. As early as the 5th century, we have sermons from church leaders imploring the people to prepare themselves for the coming of Christmas. In the first few centuries of the practice, there was an emphasis on fasting, and Advent was seen as a less strict version of Lent. It even lasted for 40 days. By the 9th century, though, this was reduced to 4 weeks. And in the 14th century, the requirements of a fast disappeared completely. And it was decreed that any fasting or abstinence practiced for Advent only applied to the clergy. So, over time, the importance of Advent has lessened, even officially in the Roman Catholic Church. And the trend has continued over the centuries through the continued secularization of the Christmas season in society. While noting that there are plenty of Christians of all backgrounds who still mark Advent, it feels as though these days the season of Advent is for marketing more enticing Advent calendars, Instagram posts of every day's opening of that tiny surprise, parties, and the preparation for the Christmas celebrations. A far cry from the spiritual preparations so common in history. Of course, we're Unitarian Universalists, and in this congregation with a strong humanist bent, why should what is now a somewhat obscure Christmas practice matter? Besides the fact that I'm notably pedantic and love making things out of interesting traditions. For example, I'm also a huge fan of Christmas lasting for 12 days. John A. Taylor writes, "If there were no Advent, we would need to invent it. We human creatures, in spite of all that has happened to us and been done by us, are still hopeful. Something new, something vital, something promising is always coming, and we are always expecting. Thus, in Advent, candles are lighted to mark the time of preparation. And with each new light, our anticipation grows, as it should. We are, after all, a hopeful people, and that hopefulness deserves a festival." What could be more you than marking and celebrating the presence of hope? Our values revolve around hope for and fervent belief in bringing into being a world that provides safety and justice for everyone. We are a people who envision a better society and world, a people who work to try to make it happen. As Reverend Erica Hewitt reminds us, but first comes the waiting. The truth of hope is that it also marks the not yet. And every day we must sit with the not yet is also a day of grief and mourning. We hope to create beloved community, but we have not yet achieved it. We hope to end hunger, but not yet. And so the sheltering spirit of love grieves with those who restlessly reach out for change. Advent is space to hold that grief. While we wait in the rich darkness around us, we might reflect on where we are now. Not what we're anticipating, not what we hope is to come, but sitting with the now. Sitting with the reality that while we are in this space together, so few of us wearing masks, the pandemic is not yet over. Knowing the truth of droughts and floods and fires and volcanoes and hurricanes, the power of our world around us, and all of the ways in which climate changes and threatens us. Watching as the hateful speech that for decades mostly kept to quiet places comes forth with deafening loudness, proclaiming that we are a nation that has room for violence based in nothing but hatred for those who are different. These threats against Jewish people, trans people, LG and B people, Black and Indigenous people of color in general, women and other groups. Frightening as some take hatred and threats as calls to violent action. The fears that more of our rights will disappear before our eyes, fears of crumbling democracy, the wealth gap that gets wider daily. We are waiting. This is the time of living in darkness, in the hues of unknowing. We are waiting. It is okay, in the quiet reflections of the season, to sit with all of this. There's no pressure to jump immediately into making ourselves feel better, doing something, or ignoring the hard truths. We are waiting. Simply being in this moment, recognizing what is around us, and letting it be not okay. So much around us is not okay. So let us allow the darkness to hold us. The darkness does not force anything upon us. It simply is. It has its own kind of warmth that we bring to it, its own kind of comfort. Let it comfort you as you simply let yourself be with everything around you. We are waiting. And there is room in our waiting for anticipation too. Reverend Hewitt again, remind us that such waitings and endings may be a starting place, a planting of seeds which bring to birth what is ready to be born. Seeds that will bring about newness and life in our lives and the world. What seeds do you have planted for which you are waiting to find the first tendrils of life emerging? For they are real and worthy of our reflection and pondering while we wait. A practice of waiting might feel empty. We are taught to act, to bring our hopes and dreams into fruition in the here and now. What does it mean to have hope and simply sit with the hoping and to wait until it happens? Yet sometimes, maybe now, waiting is one of the most important things that we can do. It is not always on us, on you as a single person, to bring about the change in the world. Yes, each of us can take some actions towards collective justice, but no single person's actions will bring it to fruition in itself. Sometimes it's important to wait for the leadership of others, to wait until enough people have gotten involved for it to be able to move forward. Sometimes it is not your place to take action, and so there is the waiting. Waiting for a world which can know justice, waiting for a lasting peace, waiting for the bridge to span the divides which separate us, waiting for a promise or a hope. For all of this, we are waiting. Live into that waiting and take the time to simply be with it. This is a spiritual practice. Decide that you will take time this season to wait. It doesn't have to be in a dark room nestled with blankets staring out the window. You could practice waiting while waiting in a waiting room or in line at a store. Use that time to consider what you are waiting for beyond the immediate moment. What is your heart sitting with? What hopes do you have that you are waiting for the right time to come to fruition? Reflect on these things as you practice waiting. Not trying to do anything else, just waiting. Or is it just waiting? I believe that in the waiting, in the expectation, you may find something deeper. For there is meaning and hope in the waiting. It tells you that there is something coming, and the waiting gives you the opportunity to discover what that might be. Please join me in waiting this Advent season. Let it be a respite from all that is going on around you, and may you find the hope of expectation for what is coming. Amen. May it be so. Please join in singing our next hymn, Find a Stillness. We release this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. May the stillness of the season fill you with the warmth of hope, the expectation, the waiting, blessings.